All right, so I just wanted to talk about some of the flooding that's been going on in the U.S. I'm sure everybody's been watching the news, but I just pulled some clips here. I thought we could watch them together, talk about what's going on.
Into the spotlight this summer. From Texas to North Carolina to the Northeast, record-breaking flood events have happened back to back across the country.
Michael Yoshida joins us with more on what's behind the seemingly nonstop weather events. Michael, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Hey, good afternoon, Sam and Steve. Experts say a combination of factors are contributing to the intense rainfall.
Yeah, we're streaming on Twitch and TikTok. It's going to be a short stream, though. We're just talking about the flooding for a little bit.
Flooding that we've seen hit areas from the Texas Hill Country to New York City.
Heavy rain and deadly flash flooding
Oh,
putting
look at
communities
that.
across the United States underwater.
It feels
Yeah,
like
that
events
house
like
was
last
just
night,
gone.
again, not just in New Jersey, but as a general
Wow.
matter, are coming more frequently with more intensity.
Summer is flash flood season, when intense daytime heat
Look at
can
that.
fuel thunderstorms and warm air can hold more moisture. But experts say
Look at that. Now, how much water do you think it takes to push that much debris like that? That water level was probably over the bridge. Oh, yeah, it had to have been. Look at the shoreline there. Wow.
these recent events were more significant for several reasons. Along with high daytime temperatures in parts of the country, we've also seen
107?
record levels of atmospheric moisture, which helped drive heavy rainfall that led to deadly flooding in Texas and North Carolina. Summer storms also tend to move more slowly or even stall due to winds in the upper
Wow.
atmosphere being weaker.
Just
And
look
as a
at
result,
that.
just deluging places that are not designed to handle
Deluging. I thought it was deluging. Deluging. Either way, now we know.
that amount of
Or he could be wrong.
precipitation in that short a period of time.
Recent wildfires also causing problems in
Is
areas
that a
like
whole
Blue Dome.
house? I didn't know houses float like that. I guess the wood.
New Mexico,
I hope
burning away
nobody was in there.
vegetation, and in some areas, the fire's
Wow.
extreme heat changing the soil's natural ability to absorb and slow down rainwater. Droughts can have a similar effect too, something we saw amplify deadly flooding in Texas. Urban areas are not immune.
Okay, now see, this is what I wanted to talk about too. This is New York. This is a subway in New York, and it's like, if it's already underground, I guess that's coming out through a drain.
Either, where asphalt pavement and older
they're
drain
not gonna
systems
show.
can be overrun.
There
Okay,
is
yeah.
a growing recognition in financial markets, in the scientific community, and starting in infrastructure planning that we are dealing with a much different beast in terms of the weather patterns that we're experiencing, and things have to change.
And more than 3,000 flash flood warnings have been issued so far this
3,000? 3,000.
year by National Weather Service offices across the country. That's the most for this point in the year since records began back in 1986.
Wow.
Back to you.
Michael, I heard him talking about in that piece the idea of infrastructure planning in some of these cities. How are these storms impacting the way cities are built?
Okay.
Yeah, so whether you're in a rural area or more in a city center, the biggest issue right now from those we spoke with is that the roads, the sewers, the drainage systems, they just weren't designed for these intensive storms and the frequency of these storms.
Well, they said it's a 1 in 1,000-year event. Of course, it wasn't built for it. That's no one's fault. You can only prepare so much.
We saw that in the Northeast, in New York City, the subway systems being overrun. We saw it in Chicago.
No, it's not the city's fault. Think about it. You can only prepare so much for these things. You have to go with the average rainfall statistics plus a little bit more, and that's about it. There's a limit. Could they even build something that could handle that much water?
Last week when they set rainfall rate records, breaking records that were first set back in the 1970s. So those we spoke with say the biggest question, the biggest
That's
challenge
wild,
right now
1970s.
for these cities, again, whether you're in a more rural area or urban center, is if you're repairing or replacing these drainage systems, where are you getting the funding from? And then once you secure that funding, how long is it going to take to try and make these improvements when, again, we're seeing the frequency and the intensity of these rainstorms just seeming to pick up.
Yeah, see, 1 in 1,000 rainfall events in a week. 4 of them. Okay. Let's check this one out.
Damage left by flooding can be felt across the country.
That's right. The U.S. has been rocked by 4 1-in-1,000-year rainfall events in less than a week. Chris joins us right now to explain.
Now
Chris.
4 and 1.
I don't think I've heard that sentence
41.
in all my career of 15 years.
Subtitles
4
fumbled the bag
1 in
on them.
1,000 year rainfall events. That
Yeah.
is crazy to have
And then they
in 1
spelled
week
4
because
wrong.
There's
What?
events like Matthew.
Hold on.
And that same shock by the catastrophic damage left by flooding can be felt across the country.
That's right. The U.S. has
Right there. The U.S. has been rocked by 41. So it was 4 1-in-1,000-year rainfall events, not 41. So that's one
been
mistake.
rocked by 4 1-in-1,000-year rainfall events in less than a week. Chris joins us right now to explain. Chris.
I don't think I've heard that
Go ahead,
sentence
Chris.
in all my career of 15 years.
Go ahead,
4
Chris.
1 in 1.
4. That's the wrong 4. F-O-U-R is the number 4. See? 2 mistakes right off the rip. Can we even trust them with the information now?
1,000-year rainfall
Who's doing these
events.
subtitles?
That is crazy
You gotta
to
check
have
your
in 1
stuff.
week because there's events like Matthew, as we know
That's
here
a
in the
shame.
Carolinas, Florence. Those were 1 in 1,000-year rainfall events. Helene, but to have me surrounded here, that would happen from July 3rd through the middle of this week, this is insane. But let's start with the
It is
biggest one. This
insane.
is Carroll County, Texas, zooming in here. So this is
Wow.
the after flooding.
Look at that. So is that the levee or some sort of dam system? See, that's where I get confused here. I mean, see the full perspective on it?
You're
Take
not
a
even
look
seeing
there.
the worst of the video because at one point cars were being just carried downstream. So this is right around the Guadalupe River. But here's the problem that happened here. Rain showers
Wow.
converged. It was the moisture from
Now look at that. Now is that car about to wash over the edge? Or did it get floated up to that? See, think about that. That much flooding. You're not even 100% sure what happened. You can't even distinguish what happened. You have theories, but that's it.
ferry that led to this, that I saw pieces of houses. You saw just an absolute
Now look at that. Look how dirty that water is. That's all mud water. That's just going to mold out right away. You got to throw all that away.
devastation where
All that's
you
wasted
usually
now.
do not hear of a death
Just
toll like
trash.
this from just
Gone.
a rain event. Absolutely staggering to see that. Where the North Fork, the South Fork River, the Guadalupe River all meet here. Saw a range about 5 to 12 inches across the area, just leading to one of the worst events that you're probably ever going to see. And there's still so many people missing. This will be an ongoing story. So that's number one. But the crazy thing was,
They said 5 to 12 inches. Now think about that. That's up to a foot of rain. And what a day.
within just a day, we
Yeah,
had a
at
very
one day.
low-end tropical storm. These are usually, hey, Chantal was quickly in and out. It only lasted a day and a quarter, but the impacts were insane. So let's go to central North Carolina. This
There
was
you
the
go.
scene afterwards. That
Look
you
at my
saw
face
a
some more.
staggering 5 to 10 inches of rain
I just wanted
projected
you to be
across
able to
the
see it
area.
better
But I
for a
was
little
seeing some
while.
radar estimates are much higher. I'll show you that here in a little bit. But
Look at
this
that.
met benchmarks that actually
Look at that. What, up to the door? Up to the trunk. That car's ruined.
broke records from
Right there.
Fran. Hurricane Fran, which goes down in history as one of the worst flooding
Wow.
storms we've ever had.
Oh.
Now, Florence broke a lot of those records.
Now, which car do you think is his? Huh? Which? Let me go back. Which car? Which car do you think is his, chat? Oh, it disconnected. That's weird. I'm back. Anyways, which car do you think is his, man? He's calling his insurance company right now.
Storms we've ever had. Now, Florence broke a
bummed
lot of those
out.
records, just depending where you were. And this is a very weak storm. You had
Oh, his
winds
leg's
that did
shaking.
get up to about 50 miles per hour, but that's very low end for tropical storms. But it just shows it was even a tropical depression when it
Look
was
at that. Look at that little Fiat there. That's his.
the most rain. This is one of the most significant
Jeez.
inland flooding events
That's
that North
terrible.
Carolina has ever seen. And again, it was a low-end
That is.
tropical storm.
That's
4
terrible.
people died from this, and this is going to cost millions to even billions of dollars in lasting damage. So that's number two. Then we move over here. to New Mexico. This is a staggering event because they had wildfires recently. And what happens during that process?
So now there's action in New Mexico. Okay, and he's saying there was already wildfires. I didn't even hear about this. Hold on. Hold on. There's a week ago. Really? Oh, sorry guys.
Wildfires in the state of New Mexico are continuing to burn out of control. They've now destroyed more than 1,000 homes, and the entire population of one town was ordered to evacuate. It's not the only problematic weather in America. In the northeast of the United States, more than 70 million people remain under heat alerts. Will Grant reports from
I like his accent. That's nice.
California.
Awe-inspiring but deadly. A towering wall of flames and heat bearing down on the town of Ruidoso in New Mexico has overwhelmed local fire crews and forced residents to flee. Most just thankful to leave with their lives, but shaken. Frank and Connie Lawyer, both 83, are sheltering in an evacuation centre, lucky to have made it out at all.
We could see the smoke change, and we were in
light, and firefighters struggling to bring around a dozen separate blazes under control.
Wow, look at that. Looks like something out of a video game. Looks like a trailer for a medieval game or something.
It is devastating, especially when you get these wind-driven fires and you have all this unburnt fuel combined with low relative humidity. It can create massive damage.
As Californians endure another season of rampant wildfires, warnings over extreme weather are in place across the country, from heat waves in the northeast to a tropical storm in Texas, a nation experiencing the real-time effects of climate change. And this is just the start. Experts say this has been an unusually
Look at that. Melted the paint off all the cars.
early and aggressive
interior's
fire
gone.
season, with several months of hot, dry weather ahead.
What's that? That looks like a volcano going off. How much is burning over there? A little bit more. Wow. Okay. Go ahead.
Eastern New Mexico, where that big fire was burning near Ruidoso, prompting the evacuations earlier this week. That helped spawn a rotating thunderstorm that dropped golf ball-sized hail onto the wildfire, along with prolific rainfall.
Golf ball size. Hold on. This man just said golf ball size hail onto the wildfire. What? Are we living in a simulation? Like what?
Onto the wildfire, along with prolific rainfall. Now, golf balls crossed into eastern New Mexico, where that big fire was burning near Ruidoso, prompting the evacuations earlier this week.
Now, everybody listen to this. Okay.
That helped spawn a rotating thunderstorm that dropped golf ball-sized hail onto the wildfire, along with prolific rainfall. Now, on one hand, the rainfall is good because it cuts back on the fire. On the other hand, that leads to debris flows and mud flows, prompting evacuations there and flash flood emergencies to be issued. Then, hot, dry weather across the remainder of the West is leading to more rampant wildfires.
Like, did the hail not melt and slow down the fire? Is that too much optimism?
Make it easier for those fires to burn and fuels to cure or dry.
Wow.
Okay, let's head to the northeast now, one of the most densely populated parts of the country. More than 70 million Americans there remaining under heat alerts. For how long?
Yeah, this is a really long duration heat wave. I can tell you, I stepped outside earlier on today, and only being out for 30 seconds a minute is more than enough for me. Temperatures in the upper 30s, around 40 Celsius.
So we get the idea. So that was New Mexico before the flooding. Okay, now we're going to go back to this gentleman.
Is you actually have a chemical process that happens from the burning of different plants where it creates this glossy layer. So let's go here. New Mexico.
Wow.
The rushing river, the sounds that you see here. There's at one point there was a house that was being carried downstream.
It's stuck on the tree. So that house floated off, got pushed off.